basically for me, I couldn't do business any other way but in a fair way. I'd expect to be treated fairly, and I will treat other people fairly. And in dealing with India in particular, there's an expression called trade, not aid. And that's a very important aspect. They don't want our charity. In fact, they find that quite patronising, that we go in there and think, what can we do? Here's some money. And a lot of the money that comes from charities, that doesn't actually find its way to on the ground where people actually need it.
I think there is definitely a growing awareness of fair trade in the UK. You can see this by many of the major corporations, supermarkets even, in this day and age, have got fair trade coming up. And it's like, wow, finally people are realising that this is something we really should think about when we're buying clothes, where they come from, and that the people who are making the clothes, how they're being treated and how much are they being paid and what age are they. Fair trade means no child labour.
I think it's great that awareness is rising, that people need to be treated fairly, and that there is a cost for everything that is produced.
I do prefer to work for a company with fair trade values, to know that there is that security for the people making the clothing that we're selling, that it isn't sort of a sweatshop idea of clothing, sort of hurrying it out, that there's the values and morals behind the clothing.
We can see directly how we have helped the companies that we've worked with in partnership, some of them for 15 years.
I think there's always more to learn about how people are treated in other countries, what goes on in factories, where do our products come from. I mean, we're kind of just on the beginning here, the tip of the iceberg at the moment. I think the amount of people that know about fair trade and that understand it, I think it's still quite a small percentage of the consumer world. So I think there is heaps more to do, really.
We've been dealing with the same producers for a long time now, so it's just lovely to spend time with them. Obviously there are issues that need sorting out. If you've had a batch of bad zips, that's going to be a discussion that you have to have.
A lot of the time you're paying in advance for the goods, and they could make it wrong, they could send it late, they could not send it at all. A lot of things can go wrong that means you won't get your goods. But for us, we've never actually had that problem.
One thing that's important is fair trade, not just with suppliers, but also for our customers. Having a good product, to be selling at a fair price and treating them fairly. All the shops who buy from us and all the customers who buy from mail order, we have a responsibility and a commitment to them that they're happy with our products, and if there's anything wrong that comes through from India, it's our thing to correct it. So, yeah, that's an important part for us of fair trade, to be fair to everyone.
It's selecting a product that has a lot of handmade quality about it, making sure the person who is making it is paid fairly and treated well. Then when the product is made, the supplier should then be selling the product to the buyer, and the buyer paying a fair price for that product.
Education is such a strong thing in India. They really, really believe in schooling. I think the children start school at something like 3, at the age of 3. So if at all possible, a family will send their children to school. So I haven't come across child labour, and I wouldn't want to buy from a company that used it.
We have a fantastic women's wear designer. Her name is Sue Curl, and she lives in Brighton, and she comes down to Cornwall to visit us several times a year, and she flies to India throughout the year to work with the tailors. She has a very strong background to do with fair trade. It's something that she feels very strongly about, in fact passionately about.
She works closely with the tailors sometimes, and she works closely with the people who make the block prints and do the tie-dyeing and embroidery. And yes, it's a really a combined interest, really. It's in our interest to get the quality there, but they're also interested to because they benefit. The better quality they give us, the more we buy, and it also helps them to sell to their other customers. Working at Nomads with everyone's great. It is like working for a family and with a family. There's everybody in the office is
a friend, it's somebody to speak to out of work and have a laugh with, go to a party with, and it's always a good place to work. I never grumble about going to work in the mornings, and I'm happy to go in and do my bit every day.
Certainly you can justify in your pocket to pay a couple more pounds for something, to really think, well, how was this made? And to know that that person who stitched the garment was actually paid more than 10 rupees for it. And so really it's not that big of a deal. And buy less is the key as well. I mean, I know that sounds crazy coming from a company that sells things to make money, but I say buy less and buy better quality of product, better quality of where it comes from, and then really you spend the same.
It makes me feel really good. It makes me feel quite proud of what we're doing, that we are, directly helping, quite a few families in India.